Hi guys, this video is going to be a little bit longer than most of the rest of the videos that I do. So today we are doing a shrimp and corn soup. It is going to take a little while because we've got to make a blonde roux instead of a dark roux, but we're going to use homemade seafood stock, and we are going to use beautiful Gulf shrimp and gorgeous corn. So I am starting off now in my Cuisinart Multicooker, and I'm adding 1 stick of butter, or basically a half a cup. And what I want to do is make sure that I melt this down, and we are going to add an equal amount of flour. So this is all-purpose flour. We're going to put that right in there. And you've seen my videos before, I'm sure, about how to make a roux. Well, this is going to be a blonde roux. You don't want to have a raw flour taste. And the way to get rid of that is to cook it down a little bit. So my butter is melting, has already melted, and the flour is in there. And before I started the video, I already prepped mise en place. I already prepped what I'm going to need for the first part of it. I've got 1/3 of a large onion. I've got 2 stalks of celery. I've got half a cup of carrots. I've got 1/2 of a leek, which was cleaned very well because you don't want sand. I'm going to kick this up a little bit, so I added 1/3 of a fresh jalapeno, and I've got my seafood base right here, and also my shrimp creole. Sorry, not shrimp creole, my shrimp stock that I cooked the other day. I bought some beautiful large shrimp, and I stuffed them. If you saw the stuffed shrimp video last week, and I stuffed those shrimp, but I took the heads, I took the peels, and added some seasoning and boiled that, and got a lovely shrimp stock. And you can freeze that and use it for your winter soups, your gumbos and everything, but it's a wonderful way to boost your flavor. And if you've never used seafood base, this is Penzeys. Seafood base is a flavor booster, basically, and I'm just going to use about a teaspoon of this seafood base in here. If you're using bases that you get from Sam's or Costco or online, you've got to be very careful because the sodium content is often very high with these. We will use, as I said, about a teaspoonful of this. A teaspoonful of the beef base in some of the beef stews can just put it over the top with the salt, so you need to be very careful. We're going to let this go for just a little bit longer, so we don't want to get any real color on it. We want to have a blonde roux. I have on the side over here 2 pounds of, I think they're 25 30s to a pound. So if you look on your shrimp, you'll see 21 25s, 25 30, colossal 15 to a pound. That's just the number of shrimp to a pound. Remember, if you buy shrimp with heads on, you're going to get less. So be prepared when you go into your seafood market or when you go into the H-E-B. This is, you can see this right now, this Cuisinart Multicooker is phenomenal. This has a very light, nutty smell. When I start adding the vegetables, it will basically stop the cooking or the burning of a roux if you're doing gumbo. So we'll start with the onions, and we'll put these in here. We'll go ahead and add the leeks. And I forgot to tell you, I do have some bay leaf on the side here. It's not fresh bay leaf, but it's dried, it'll be fine. We're gonna go ahead and put the celery in. And we're going to go ahead and put the carrots in. And let's get our beautiful jalapeno in here. If I would be cooking something Cajun, I would omit the carrots and I would use bell pepper. That's the Trinity. But we're not doing that today. There we go. I wish you could smell it. It's marvelous. We're going to cook this down now for about 5 minutes. I'm going to turn the video off so you won't be bored with what we're doing. I'll come back to you when I add the shrimp stock and also the seafood base. We'll see you in a few. We're only 4 minutes into this and it's going really well. The vegetables are cooking down, and here in this pan, I've got about 4.5 cups of frozen corn. It is, I heated the pan and put 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. What I want to do is add another layer or another flavor into this. So I'm going to make sure the corn is a little bit sauteed, give it a little brown color on there. And so we've got this going really good here. You hear that sizzle? So I'm going to be two-handed here in a second and make sure this is stirred. You don't want to let it sit. I don't want the flour to burn. The flour can still burn even if the vegetables are in there. I've got sea salt and black pepper here on the side. Remember, if you're using a base, Kenzie's isn't as salty as some of the others, but if you're using a base, be careful, watch your salt. Always make sure you taste through this. I like to use white pepper. Unfortunately, I do not have white pepper today, so we are going to go with black pepper. The black pepper tends to leave a few specks in it. What I will be using too, I have a Viking stick blender, and I want a little bit of texture, but not a lot. I'm not going to blend the corn, but I will, as soon as I put the stock in here, I will blend that down. This will also have some half and half and a little bit of whipping cream later on in the cooking process. We're not going to put it in straight away, but I just wanted to go ahead and show you about us cooking the corn. And remember, that's just an additional layer of flavor. There we go. One way to really make your shrimp stretch out, you can, if the shrimp are large enough, you can peel them and divide them in half down the center, or you can butterfly them. I butterflied the ones that I stuffed the other day, and it made a great presentation. They were so delicious. Please go back and follow that video, because it really made a great presentation, and they were delicious. I also had to promise that I would put the recipe for the beautiful sauce, and I will have that on another day. Let's see how we're going with this. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off for a few more minutes, and we'll be back as soon as we start getting it put together. We're back. The flour and vegetable mixture has been going for about 8 minutes. It's on about 375, but I constantly stirred it. Here we've got, still have the corn. There's no browning yet. You want to get a little bit of color on this corn. And as I said, the aroma is amazing. We're going to go ahead and add the shrimp stock a little bit at a time. You can see the pinkish color here. And we're going to stir a little bit at a time. We want to make sure we get the lumps out. But you know, when we use the Viking stick blender, we're going to get most of the lumps out. There we go. I don't know, can you see that? I really need an overhead camera, but I don't know how I'm going to figure that out. All right, there we go. All right, got a shrimp whisker in there, which you've got to take out. Sometimes you have to be careful. Pieces of the shrimp will get in your stock if you're not careful when you strain it. All right, let's go ahead and add some more. We've got about 3.5 to 4 cups of stock that we're going to add in here. Let's stir that in. It is basically what we've done is the flour is absorbing that liquid, and it's making a sauce, basically. It smells really good. We're going to go ahead and add that teaspoon of seafood base in right now, and we'll get that all mixed in, so don't worry about it. It will get incorporated into the soup. Go ahead and add more stock. And with my multi-cooker, I will turn this on low and let the flavors incorporate and just meld. I will add the shrimp later on. If I add the shrimp early in the process, what will happen is the shrimp will get tough and shrivel up. So what we want to do is make sure that we don't add the shrimp too early. There's nothing worse than having a beautiful soup and a rough, tough shrimp. So we'll put that in toward the end. There we go. Beautiful. Let's check on this corn. The corn's been on for about almost 5 minutes, and we're getting some color on it. Good. Beautiful. A little bit longer. I'm going to turn down the heat because now I'm going to take my stick blender and we're going to use that in here. This is a non-stick pan in the multi-cooker, so I'm not too worried about this because the blades are off. Be real careful not to push because you don't want to scratch the surface. And this is blending out some of the roughness. The leeks were a little bit tough this morning, so I want to make sure we don't have big pieces of leek in there. There we go. Beautiful. A little bit more. You'll notice in this soup, I did not use garlic. Surprise. It's something I don't cook with garlic besides dessert. Let's see how we're doing. Pretty good. We still have a little bit of the leek that we need to blend out. I don't mind having some texture. You'll have texture with the corn. But I don't want big chunks of carrot, nor do I want big chunks of leek. Let's check this and see how we're doing. Okay, that's good. Let's taste. Great seafood flavor already. That stock really makes a difference. If you have a chance, try to make your own stocks. They really, really enhance the flavor of whatever you're making. If you have beef bones, take those beef bones, roast them, and then use that. Great way to make your beef stock. Okay, we've got color on this corn, which means it is time to go into the pot. So, go ahead and we'll put this right in there. Yes. And we're going to scrape out any good bits at the bottom. You know, those good bits have another layer of flavor, and flavor is what you want in your cooking. Okay, put that in there. Perfect. And let's move this over here. And let's give this a stir. Always make sure that you're careful because that's hot. Perfect. Beautiful. So now we've got the base for the shrimp and corn soup. We'll go ahead and add, it's about 2 bay leaves worth. They're crunched up. I've got a bay leaf plant that I'm growing outside. I had 2 bay leaf plants at my house in the woodlands, and of course we moved, so I don't have that available to me anymore. So I grew one last year, and the freeze got it. I've got another one growing out there this year. I'm gonna go ahead and add a little salt, and we're gonna go ahead and add some pepper at this point in time. Let's stir that in. Whoops, wrong thing. Stir that in, and we're going to turn the heat down, and we're gonna put it on slow cooker mode. We don't have to move it. We're gonna go ahead and add a little more stock because it got really thick all of a sudden. We're gonna put it on slow cooker mode and let it cook for about an hour. And we'll be back with you when we do the other stuff. back to finish up this delicious soup. So what we have going right now is we had this in the multi-cooker for 2 hours, and the corn and all of the seasonings incorporated, so it's nice and thick. I think you can see that in the video. Right now, I have a pan with a tablespoon of olive oil, and I have about 2.5 pounds of shrimp. Unfortunately, when I got my shrimp, one was one size, and then I had some in a different size. So I've got 2 sizes. It's going to be fine. It's just going to be us that's going to be eating it. So it's about 2.5 pounds. You can go a little bit more if you want really shrimpy soup. I also have 1/2 cup of heavy whipping cream and 1 cup of half and half, and that will go in a second. So I give this a good stir here, and that really looks good. A great smell in the house. Make sure you always warm your half and half and cream up before you put it in. So I just zapped mine in the microwave. I'm going to go ahead and put that in right now and mix that up. If you leave it in the crock pot too long, you could have some separation, and you don't want that to happen. So as you can see, it's nice, got a good creamy color. And remember, we used the stick blender on it a little while ago, so we have some texture, but not as much as I would say having a gumbo or something like that. We're going to lightly brown the shrimp. I don't want to overcook them. I'm going to pop them in here and just toss them around so we get a little pink color on there. And that happens really, really quickly. I had the fire on high. And you can see some of these shrimp are just so big and beautiful. And the other ones are a little smaller, but like I said, what you need to do is probably get about 2.5 pounds. And on the written recipe on www.cabuser.wordpress.com, you'll find the exact recipe, and that way you can recreate this for your family and friends. So we're almost there with the pink color. You don't want to get them too pink because they are going to go in this hot liquid, and they're still going to cook a little bit longer before we serve it for dinner. And I'm going to serve it tonight in some nice big bowls, and we're going to have, I think, some crusty French bread alongside. That sounds pretty good. Anyway, this is what's happening. We're pretty close with the shrimp right now, and I'm going to make sure that I save the juices of the shrimp to get in here, adding that extra layer of flavor. Beautiful. We're almost there. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and we'll add the shrimp right in here. Beautiful. And let's give this a stir. And the shrimp aren't completely blown up. They're going to be close. Let me give this a taste though. It needs a little bit more salt. Add that. There we go. And we'll probably add a little bit more hot sauce to it tonight to give it that kick, but it is going to be delicious. Give this a try. We'll leave this in the slow cooker on low for another maybe 20 minutes so that shrimp will get it mixed up in there. And enjoy this. Cook it, enjoy it, and we'll talk to you later.